Welcome, welcome, my beautiful people. Welcome back to another episode of Perspective Podcast. I am your host, Adriana Di Marvel, and we are here to dive deep into some incredible journey of beautiful people of all walks of life. This podcast is about transformation, resilience, and the power of perspective. And today we will hear an amazing story of an amazing friend, awesome friend. You're gonna hear me using that word a lot, and you're gonna understand later why. On this next episode of Perspectives, I am so thrilled to have and welcome Lori Phillips. She's a dynamic founder of the Be Awesome Network, a mom of three, and she's an inspiring entrepreneur. Lori journey, and I heard a little bit of it. Lori journey, she's very empowering, and she goes through her journey from overcoming perfectionism. So I know we have that in common, and burnout into a powerful mission. Throughout her platform, the Be Awesome Network, she empowers entrepreneurs, fosters personal growth, and builds authentic connections, helping and encouraging others on their own journey of awesomeness. So let's welcome Lori. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much, Adriana, for having me. I am so thrilled to be here, and I appreciate the invitation. And I've had you on my Be Awesome Network, and that was an amazing conversation. I actually learned a lot and took some things into my own practice in my own life. So thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak in your awesome, amazing network, which is growing absolutely incredible. So before we get into how you got here to create in like what 4 months or almost 10,000 people in your group, let's dive into before. What happened before? What determined? What is the why behind the Be Awesome network?
Yes, well, thank you so much. Yeah, my story kind of starts young. So I was always flipping around the house, and my parents put me in gymnastics because I was always flipping around the house and breaking furniture and things like that. And you and I have that in common too. I remember that. But so at 4 years old, I went into gymnastics, and by 9, I was competing, and I took it all the way to collegiate gymnastics. So it was pretty much my life. So at a very young age, I learned to perform, that perfection matters, that everything has to be just so. And I also learned to work really hard and to please other people. So there were some really deeply ingrained stories in my life that I didn't realize were there, because they, as you know, if you're a high performer, then you get rewarded in life. You get rewarded by your coaches or your teachers or your bosses later in life. And so people seem to reward and compliment you when you work really hard and you accomplish things. But what's going on underneath all of that, in my life, I didn't realize, was a buildup of anxiety and, like I said, perfectionism, and a drive to always do more, like never was enough. So that's kind of where my story starts, and why not why I started the network. I started the network after a deep crash in my life, because after a divorce, and then a high performing job, and a lot of stress in the family and at work, I just one day just hit a wall, and I couldn't function. I drove home, and I got in bed, and I spent the next year recovering from the neurological crash that happened inside my body, which, as you know, I'm sure, that vagus nerve, the neurological health of your body controls everything else in your body. So I had to learn to write again. I was slurring my words. I had to learn to kind of speak, and words were hard to find, and I wasn't eating, and all the things. So yeah, that's kind of the long and the short of why I started the Be Awesome Network, because climbing out of that period of my life and realizing what I had done to myself and how I had not loved myself or asked myself, what does Lori want? What does Lori need? Always trying to raise a family and serve, serve everyone else except for me. I realized, okay, I made it and I'm feeling awesome and I want to help other people feel awesome. I know there's other people out there who are struggling. Everyone has a story, right? And everyone's story is so important and we can learn so much from each other. So that's why I started the network. Yeah.
I love these moments. And now looking back, I think that was, I will say it can be sometimes a blessing. In that moment, it's not a blessing, but it's kind of like a blessing in disguise, because sometimes I feel like the universe, it takes you to the point, it keeps nudging you to get you to the point that you need a wake-up call. And unfortunately, the only way we wake up is to put us down, to give us that rock bottom. And you've been through that. Would you say that you had to go to multiple moments that crush you or put you down to be able to wake up, or you had the one moment when you said that helped you to completely change your perspective of how you saw yourself, how you saw your life, how you saw everything around you?
Yeah, I would say that was the defining moment, or that season of time, because it took me a year to fully recover. It took me 3 months before I was ready to like leave the house or start to try to drive or anything like that, drive a car. I had gone through several, of course, other hard periods in life, but that I didn't come to the conclusion after those hard periods. It was always about someone else. Like, how can I help them? Or how can I fix this? Or, it was like I was putting all the pressure on me to do the fixing and the helping and the serving. But I never really prioritized myself. So I feel like I almost had to get to that place where it was just me and my creator, God, universe, spirit, whatever you assign the higher power in life. I felt like it was just me in my house and God. So it was really a period of time that forced me to look at me, because it's like, what did I just do to myself?
I know that feeling very well. I know that feeling when you don't have a choice anymore than just to face yourself, and you have to stay with yourself. And even if you don't like it, even if it's uncomfortable, it takes you to the point to get there. But I think it's so needed. And from what they say, from dirt, flowers appear, flowers grow. So we need it. It was so needed. When it comes to lessons that we learn, usually what they say, that we learn the greatest lessons from the toughest experiences. What do you think was your most unexpected lesson that you had learned about yourself and about everything in those moments or after those moments?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think because I had never really looked within myself and thought of myself first, the first lesson is that I'm not alone when I'm by myself. I'm with myself. I started calling it with myself, like not I'm by myself going here or there, but I'm with myself. And I also learned that I like myself. Like, I'm a really cool person. I like to be with me. So I think that's probably the biggest lesson that I hadn't really realized before, that I didn't really need anyone else in my life to complete who I was, that I didn't need to seek comfort from anyone else in my life, but myself. And yeah, and my God. And it was just a completely different feeling than I'd ever experienced before.
That. I love to hear when people are realizing so many things about themselves after a breakdown, because was a breakthrough. I really love that. It brings so much. I think that's why I'm doing this podcast, because it's bringing people with incredible stories. We all have incredible stories, but not everybody is willing to talk about them, to talk about the dark side, to talk about the things before. You know, most of the people, they talk about the results and who I am and what I do now, but I think it requires vulnerability to be able to allow yourself to expose what happened before, who you were before. And that, I think, that gives hopes to a lot of people. And I think that's what you are trying to do with the Awesome Network, is to give a space to people, to bring them hope, to show them that most of the entrepreneurs that they come to the Awesome Network, they weren't entrepreneurs all their life. They became entrepreneurs because of a tough experience, because of something that happened into their life. What now that, not necessarily that, you know, we all say, you say the same, I heard you saying, it's not like I'm done and I'm good. We're still into the process, we're still going through a journey. But let's say you more on the other side of the bridge. Now that you learn how that those decisions, the mindset, and the people around you can impact your life, and how you see the results of the work you did with yourself, how is impacting now your kids, your family, and the people around you with what you do now?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's interesting because, I went through that period of time, and then I went through another season where I was kind of easing my way back into life. And so, my kids saw me at my absolute worst, like unwashed hair, confused, wrapped in a blanket on the couch, like um, they were very concerned for me, obviously, and loving and caring, but they got to see that I'm human, and they got to see that, what overworking and overachieving can do to a person. So they learned that lesson. And then during the season where I was coming out of that and starting to, integrate back into society, I feel like they learned, and I had a lot of people surrounding me who were helping me. So I had my mom and some friends that would actually take turns coming to my house and cooking food for me and helping me. And I got confused. I got so confused sometimes that I deleted all my pictures on my phone, because I thought it just was overwhelming. There were too many choices. It was so much information. I couldn't even go online and order. Like, I had cats at the time. My cat had kittens. I tried to order kitty litter, and I ordered puppy pads. So it's like my brain wasn't working. And so all of those frustrations they got to witness, and I got to find out, like, I'm not alone, even though I like myself and I can be by myself with myself. I'm not alone. I've got a support. I've got people who love me and will help. And then, as I started to progress and get better and better, I think, it encouraged my kids to see me start thriving, and going to yoga, and like getting my yoga certification, and starting to do things that were for me but also good for me, and that's sharing that with others, like starting to teach yoga and starting to be kind of an advocate for taking care of yourself. And so I started to eat really healthy and do yoga, and I was working, and my son graduated high school. And then my lease was up, and I had like a 3-month gap of where I didn't really know what I was going to do for a living situation. I could extend my lease, or I could travel. So I decided I would travel. And so I went on the road by myself, with myself. And I think what that showed my kids, looking back, you know, I had a little bit of the mom guilt where you think, oh, I'm leaving my kids. What are they going to do without me? But they were all graduated. They were all, you know, they were all living their own independent lives and really didn't need me as much. But I think what that taught them was it's okay to be brave, and it's okay to step out and do something different and to follow your heart. And the results of that, that it ended up, it was going to be 3 months and it ended up being almost 6 months. And in that season is when I launched the Be Awesome Network, because I was focusing on what I needed and wanted. And I thought, well, what better time to do this than I have time, and I have, you know, the capacity that I can understand how to do this, and I want to do this. And so, yeah, all of that, like, I look back and I just think, okay, like, I learned a lot, but I also taught my kids a lot just through my actions.
That is lead by example. Be the example that you want to see in the world. And that starts with in your family. You can be the example for your children, and then your children, because we sometimes, I'm not a mom, so I can't speak from that point of view, but I can speak from a child point of view, or seeing, seeing my friends as mothers. When you show by example all of your faces and not try to always try to be the hero, I think it brings a lot of humbleness to your children, and understanding as well, so they can understand, okay, like you said, mom is a human. Mom can be the most incredible, awesome human being in the world, but also mom is a human, and those emotions and those downs are normal, the same that the ups are normal too. And I love to see that more people are opening up and being okay to show all the sides of who you are as a parent to your children, so they don't grow up into a mindset like, if I'm not this way and if I'm going down, then that's not good, it's not acceptable. And I really appreciate you doing that. It's when it comes to, because you talk about, the community with the people that come and help you and come and jump and help you when you are going through that. And then the community can be even you and your family, and then you extend it to the people and friends around you. And now you're creating your own community. You choose who you want to bring in your surroundings with the awesome network. What is the goal with this group, with this community? What is your aspiration towards it, and why? What we say will be that thing that people would want to be part of the Be Awesome Network?
Yeah. Well, it's really interesting, because before I started the Be Awesome Network, I didn't really have an online community. I only had a physical in-person community in my hometown. And so going on the road and being independent and learning how to navigate life without anyone I knew around me was so interesting. But when at the same time I was growing the network, and I was meeting so many people around the world, and people would invite their friends, and I would interview someone else and learn about their lives and what they've gone through. And so I really expanded my worldview, kind of like as a byproduct of opening up this network for people to come and join and be a part. And my goal when I started the Be Awesome Network was to have a place where people could come to feel inspired and to be told that they're awesome every single day. Because I want people to feel awesome. I want them to know they're awesome. And I truly do believe that we are all awesome. We all have awesomeness inside of us. We all have more to give, more to share. And when we do that together, then we're we're becoming a better world and a more awesome space, and I always say we can be awesome together, so yeah, I really wanted to just have a place that was positive and uplifting and inspiring, and also a place where people could come to learn. So a lot of people come on the network when I'm doing my interviews, and they have such knowledge. Like when you came on and shared, your knowledge and your skills and what you've learned, and just even the tips and tricks that you gave in that one interview, I started to put into practice, and I was like, so I did my own version of it, because you say look in the mirror, and I started. It's like I'm telling everyone else they're awesome every day, but I'm not telling myself that. So I'm like looking myself in the mirror every day, and I'm telling myself, you are awesome, like right in the eyes.
That's beautiful. I love that. I love to hear that. It's not easy on the beginning, but more you do it, you open up to yourself more, and then you start actually believing it. On the beginning, you might not, the parts of you might like, yeah, sure. But you do it more, you start believing it. I love that. I love to see and hear people taking other people, their journey and their lessons, and implement it in their life, because we all have something to learn from each other. It's your, like, for me, your determination of doing this, even if you didn't know what exactly how to do it, even if you never did this before. For most of the people, they don't want to start something is because, like, oh, the fear of the unknown didn't stop you. You had, I think for you, you had such a strong why, and you're like, I'm determined to do this. I don't know the how. I'm just gonna figure out as I go, and then you learn. You're a very different person, or you more knowledgeable than you were, 4, 5, 6 months ago, because of doing this. And I love the point that you said, you learn so much by interviewing people, by hearing other people's stories, by holding space for them, more than, I think, than anything else. And I love to see that you building this, meanwhile you building yourself. That's something, and I wrote this, I'm gonna use it. Be awesome, let's be awesome together. That's such a catchy phrase, and it's so good, so good. When it comes to doing things and creating things and keep you ongoing, because even if we do these things as entrepreneurs, on the beginnings, sometimes we will have that moment when we want to fall back, when the hard hits, when what hits the fan, or things doesn't work accordingly with the plan or what you want. What are those habits or tips or tools that you use now that you see they work for you, that help you to keep going, even you hit those roadblocks, and that you can share with the audience?
Yeah, that's good. I started listening to podcasts and encouraging YouTube channels, affirming, inspirational things like that. I start my morning with something like that, because I think the morning is so important. I just listened to Mel Robbins' podcast about the 7 things or something like that you must do in the morning. And I love the science behind what she teaches. And so I try to model myself after people who have gone before me and learned what works and what doesn't work, right? And so I start my day with positivity. And I think I learned it from someone else, but it was like, even when you wake up, just being thankful for the fact that you woke up, and so I always wake up with a thank you. Thank you for another day. Thank you for this warm bed. Thank you for this comfy pillow. This is going to be an awesome day. And then, so before I've even put my feet on the ground, I've already told myself this is going to be a great day. And it's not fake. I do believe it. Like, you can't just talk your brain into something it's not going to believe. I do believe that it's going to be a good day. So, and then, yeah, so just starting your morning off with positivity, and then, sunshine is super important to me. And I don't always have the sun, but when I do have the sun, I try to get some sunshine and some exercise. And yeah, so I think morning routines are pretty important. I think you talk about that too. And then of course I did add my look in the mirror and tell myself I'm awesome to my morning routine. But it's just interesting how that can change, like if you start waking up and you're like, oh, another day, and you're like, oh my gosh. And then you start thinking about all the problems you have to solve, or, oh, I have to go to work. Oh, I have to get up. It's like, I try not to go there. There are mornings that, you're tempted to have that feeling. But yeah, so I think, yeah, those are some of the things that I do that help me a lot.
Yes, yes. Starting the morning, it will set up the whole day. It sets up all every single day, and it's a choice. I think, like you said, it's a choice. We have days when you woke. I have days when I woke up worrying, like my mind was there. I didn't even open my eyes, and I can hear my thoughts. And this, and you need to do this, and you need to get up, and you need to do this, and I'm like. And then I catch myself. I'm like, wait a minute, hold horses, hold your horses. Wait a second. We didn't even get out of bed and we're already ongoing. And it's just that choice. I think it's that choice over and over and over again to decide not to go there, and then decide how you want your day to go. That is something that it's important to implement more in our lives. These little things, the little things that creates the big picture. And if it's, I know we tend not to give advice, but if it's your message or your recommendation to someone that doesn't feel awesome, say, yeah, Lori, but you don't know my story. You don't know what I'm going for. You know what's happening in my life. I don't feel awesome. What would you say to that person?
I would say, I think having other people in your life speak into you sometimes is needed. And if you're feeling that certain way, because I know that we all have it within ourselves. Like the answer is in me. The answer I have, it's up to me if it's going to be right. So I know that the answers are inside of me, and I know that I can pull from my creator, and I know that I can listen to positive things. But if there's a time in your life where you're just not feeling awesome, I think I just had this happen last night. I just got really discouraged, and I was with my friends, and it just kind of came over me, and I just said, hey guys, I'm not feeling great. Like, so just acknowledging it and speaking it, even if you don't have someone around, even just speaking it, you know what, I'm not feeling that great. What is it about right now that is that's bothering me, and just sitting with it and realizing, I don't feel awesome. Why don't I feel awesome? Okay, well, I messed up at work, and I lost my job, or, there's something, a relationship that's going wrong, or, whatever the problem is. It's like, if you focus on that problem, that's going to become bigger and bigger and bigger. Not that we don't need to address problems, but I think that it's really important to understand that we need to be compassionate with ourselves and forgive ourselves for mistakes we might have made, or, things that we didn't do that we wanted to do. Like, every single day is a new day. And, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like every single day I get up, I'm like, I'm so awesome. Because it's not always the truth. But, if you're not feeling awesome, I would just say, get to the why, because there might be something down deep that you're believing that's not true about yourself, you know. And a lot of times it goes back to childhood and how you might have been treated or something that happened. And I even had to do that last night. I had to say, why am I overwhelmed? What is overwhelming me? Why do I feel pressure? You know, I just had a lot of really great things happen today. I'm with two of my friends. Why am I feeling this? You know? So yeah, I had to kind of take it all the way back. It actually went back to childhood and feeling the pressure as a gymnast, specifically beam. You'll appreciate this. The balance beam. I was like, why was that little girl, why was she so afraid to get up on that beam? You know, afraid of failing, afraid of falling, afraid of letting my coach down, afraid of embarrassment, you know, afraid. Like what? So I had to kind of go back and say, you know, it's okay. It's okay to be afraid. You're doing the best you can. And we got this together. And yeah, and look how far you've come, right? Like you don't have to get on that beam anymore, but that beam sometimes represents other big things in life where you're like, oh my gosh. And so that's kind of where I am right now. It's like, I'm getting on a beam again. And I need to tell my younger self, you know, it's going to be okay. We're here. We're here together. We can be awesome together. We can do this. And look how far you've come, and look how, you know, you didn't fall, you didn't get embarrassed, you didn't, sure, you might have messed up here and there and everywhere, but look, you survived, you're here, look what life you have now, you know. And so that, I don't know if that answers your question.
That was so beautiful. That was beautiful because it was authentic and it was coming from your heart and your own personal experience. And those are the most powerful messages we can always share with people around us. I love this. Let's be awesome. We can be awesome together. And you can use that phrase with the people around you, but also you can use that phrase with yourself, with all the parts inside of you. So I really love that. It was such a beautiful way to getting to an end of our beautiful podcast. Before we ending, where people can find you, where people can connect with you.
Yeah, well, thank you. Well, the Be Awesome Network is found on Facebook. So you just go into Facebook and search for Be Awesome. It's a really colorful purple and pink, and there's blues and blacks, but it's like, it's a real fun environment. You can also find me on, I think you're going to put the links, but you can find me at the beawesomenetwork.com, which will also lead to the Facebook group. And so yeah, that's basically where you can find me. And yeah, I so appreciate, you know, being able to share my story, and thank you for the invitation. And
it's always my pleasure. But before we end, I always have 3 fire questions for you. 3 fire questions for all my guests at the end. And the first one is, what is one thing that you do every day to bring you joy?
That brings me joy? Yoga.
Yes.
Yeah, breathing and stretching and moving is really important to me. I think it's important to move every day. So, and you know, there are days that I might skip. I try not to, but it's just turn the music on and move, and it's just beautiful.
I love that. Yes, in having some fun together with yourself in that way. Awesome. Second question: if you could have dinner with anybody, alive or dead, who would that be and why?
Alive or dead? Wow. You know, I just listened to a wonderful YouTube episode by Maya Angelou, and the poet and speaker. And I just think she's a beautiful person. I think I would love to spend time with her and hear her story. Yeah, just kind of learn, because she's obviously very, very, very wise and inspirational.
I love that. Yes, she's her, even the way she speaks, like she speaks straight to your soul. I love that. And question number 3, what is your wish for humanity, or what would be you want your hope for your legacy to be?
That's a great question. Well, my wish for humanity would be for us to believe in each other and for us to really see each other, because we walk around sometimes with our heads down, or we drive really fast and pass people by. And one of the things I love doing in my network is finding people and highlighting them just in everyday life. I'll be out and about and I'll just meet someone and I think, wow, that's an awesome person. And so taking time to do that has been so cool, because you learn something about that person and you connect with that person and you get to tell that person that they're awesome. And if we can do more of that, I feel like, the world will be so much of a better place.
I love that, because this is something that doesn't cost you a lot of money. It literally takes you a second to turn around, smile to someone and say, you are awesome. And most, like you said, not many people are doing this to each other, and it's important to do these little things that can bring more joy to people around us. So yes, we can be awesome together. We just have to do it every day. So it's been such a pleasure to have you, Lori, here. Thank you so much for taking your time in a Saturday to be here. I appreciate your time. I love to hear your story. And then those people are wanting to be part of your Be Awesome network and they know they are awesome people, then definitely join Lori group and community. You will learn a lot from all the other people she interviewed. If you want to be interviewed, she is open to that. Connect with her, and also don't be shy and say hello to her and say what was that thing that stood out for you from Lori's story. Thank you so much, Lori. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for listening our Perspective podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share this with your friends. And remember, everything in life is just a matter of perspective. See you, everyone, next time. Bye-bye.